Hey, what's going on, everyone? So today I want to show you how you can remove the front bumper on your Hummer H3. Now, the purpose of this video could be for multiple things. Maybe you're getting a new aftermarket bumper and you got to take off the old one. Maybe you're just doing some service work. But for whatever reason you guys have, I'll go ahead and show you how to do it. Before we go ahead and get started, I'm going to show you a quick animation of everything that you need to do to take the bumper off. It'll be really quick and it'll be a whole lot faster than me trying to explain it to you on camera. So the first thing that we have to do is remove the front skid plate. It's held in there by a total of 4 13mm bolts. Super easy to take off and only takes like a minute or two. And then you can go ahead and drop it and just put it off to the side for now. Now if we go ahead and look behind the bumper, there are 3 things that we have to do. First thing that we got to take care of is the bumper bracket bolts. They require a 13mm socket. There are 2 on each side, a total of 4. And the best way how to get to them is just by laying on the ground. They are in a bit of a tight space, but you definitely have enough room to get a socket in there. Then we have 2 plastic push clips, 1 on each side. These 2 clips are located in the wheel wells and are very easy to get to. And the last of the 3 things we have to do is disconnect our fog light harness. If you go ahead and look under the H3 and look up, you will be able to see the fog light assembly and disconnect that harness. The next thing that we're going to have to do is remove the grille. However, if your H3 is body lifted, so you either have the 1-inch Daystar body lift or the Outfitter Design 1 1/4-inch body lift, you can actually go ahead and skip this step. Now taking off the grille itself is very easy. You have a total of 4 10mm bolts, 2 10mm flange nuts, and 4 plastic clips, 2 on each side, holding it in. And all you do to take those off is just pull on it. 2 of the 10mm bolts are located in the grille slots. To get to these bolts, you will need an extension on your socket because they are decently far back. The rest of them are located in the engine bay, so you will need to pop the hood to get to those 10mm bolts, which are the ones closer to the middle. And then you can go ahead and do the flange nuts. And now the grille is ready to be taken off. So what you need to do is to pull on each corner to release the clips, and then you can go ahead and remove the entire grille. And now the very last thing that we have to do is to take off the D-rings and the D-ring brackets. Now to take off the D-ring, you'll just need a 24mm socket. Then to take off the bracket, you will need a T30 or Torx 30 to take off that little middle bolt right there, and then a 18mm to take off those 2 larger bolts. Obviously take out that smaller T30 bolt first, and then you could do those 18mm bolts. And then from there, we are finally good to take off the bumper. It might give you a little bit of resistance, but it should come off easy for the most part. Now that you got the concept, let's go ahead and do it in real life. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is remove the front skid plate. The only thing holding it up is 4 13mm bolts. So let's go ahead, go under here, and have a look. And as you can see, got one over here, one over here, one over here, and one over there. There's 2. And just to let you guys know, this tab on the crash bar actually holds up the skid plate, so it's not going to fall in your face. As you can see, for these back 2 ones, we only need to loosen them. We don't need to take them out all the way because we got this bigger hole opening here, and then we could just go ahead and slide the whole thing in. So let's just loosen these up a little. And that's everything. Now we can just go ahead and drop it. And off it comes. So now let's go ahead and disconnect our bumper bracket bolts. They could be found right here. The size is 13mm and they're pretty easy to get to. Now here are our 2 13mm bolts right here. And you just kind of have to push this wheel well out so you can get a little more room in here. Now I might have to manually do this to start, and then there's bolt number 1, and there's number 2. Now we are all good on this side. Let's go ahead and do the other side. Alright, so now let's go ahead and remove the 2 plastic clips that you can find on both sides of the H3. Alright, so now let's go ahead and disconnect our fog light assembly. The plug for it will actually be just directly behind the headlight. So if we come under here, and go ahead and look right up in here, we can actually see our fog light assembly. If you go ahead and see that blue little tab there, that is the harness for our fog light. So let's just go ahead, reach up, and there is our harness. Disconnect it. And that's it there. And then we just got to do the other side. Now, in the animation, I did show the next step would be to take off the grill, but I have a grill guard, so I got to take off the grill guard before I can get to the grill. The way that the grill guard gets mounted onto the H3 is by sandwiching it in between the frame and our D-ring brackets. So if we just go ahead and remove our D-ring brackets, which we have to do anyway, the grill guard will come off. So basically we're not doing any additional work here, we're just taking off our grill guard at the same time we take off our D-ring brackets. So if you do have a grill guard, you do have to be careful when you go to take this off, because the only thing holding up this grill guard is the D-ring bracket. So what you need to do is actually prop the grill guard up with something. I'll show you a clip of that before. Now for me personally, I don't need to do this because I got this sticky tack kind of material that actually holds up the grill when I go to unbolt this, because I do this so many times. But let's go ahead and get started. So first we're going to need our 24mm socket to undo our D-ring bolt. So clamp this on. Okay, go ahead, take this out, and put our nut back on here. Now let's do it to the other side. Clamp it on. Go ahead and put this on. Now let's go ahead and take our T30 and unscrew it, because you don't want this small little T30 bolt holding it up. There we go. Out it comes. Other one over here. There we go. Now let's go ahead and switch to our 18mm socket. All right, let's go ahead and get this out. All right, once we undo the other bolt, the bracket's gonna wanna fall. All right, go ahead and stick that there. Again, you need to support your grill guard if you don't have any sticky tack or anything like that. Okay, and right here. Right here. Now I'll quickly grab the grill guard because it is ready to fall. So, yep, bit sticky, and it comes right off. Let's go ahead and set this down. Alright, and the last thing that we got to do is remove our grill. For this part, I'm just reusing the footage I shot from the 7-inch round headlight video, because it is done the exact same way and it wouldn't make that much of a difference if I were to reshoot it. So 4 of the bolts are going to be located on the top of the grill. So there's going to be one right there, one right here, one right here, and one right there. We can go ahead and zoom in and have a closer look. So the first one right here, you can see it, and then there's another one to match right there. Now if you come around to the side of the H3, you got to kind of like come right in here. You can see that there is another one hanging right back in there. And if we go ahead and look at the other side right here, there is a same one. And then the last 2 ones that you're going to see are going to be right inside of here. You can see that one, and then another one to match on the side. In addition to the bolts, the grill is held on by some plastic clips on the left and the right side over there. If we go ahead and take a look here, and kind of pull this grill out, and you can see that there's a plastic clips. I've actually broken, I think, both of these plastic clips already because I've taken this grill off so many times. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can link a replacement to these clips, because I'll probably want to replace mine. But yeah, when you go to take this grill off, you're gonna have to pull on this side right here and that side, after you've taken off all 6 bolts, of course. Go ahead and take our 10mm and work on getting all 6 bolts out. So there's one. That's number 2. Come around to here. And we got this one right here. These ones on the side here come out really easily. Just got to loosen them a little bit, and then you could hand loosen them off the rest of the way. All right, now let's go ahead and put our extension on and get these last bolts out. And there's our bolt. And you don't actually need to worry about these bolts falling into here at all, because there's like plastic right here that will prevent it from falling, so that's nice. And here's the last bolt. All right, so now the grill guard's free, nothing's holding it on. Remember, we do have the clips on the left and the right. I'm gonna probably make it look really easy taking this out, because I've taken my grill guard out so many times that I've kind of broken the clips. But that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Oh, pulled that side out, and this side came out. Both of my clips are broken there. But yeah, that's it. And now we can go ahead and just put this off to the side. All right, so now that we've done everything we needed to do, let's go ahead and remove the bumper. Now, I do want to note, it's not going to just slide out gracefully. You might need to wiggle it back and forth. Could get caught on some stuff, so let's go ahead and see how easy I could do this. Oop. Looks like we're getting caught up here. Oh, and there we go. Just takes a little bit of finesse in order to loosen it. But there, here we go. We could set it down. Now we got the bumper off, and we could have a much better look. So I do want to note, when I was taking the bumper off, all 4 of these little clips came off. What these clips do is hold in the bumper bracket bolts. So these things actually just go right here and click right into here like that. They're kind of finicky and they can fall off easily, but make sure when you go to put the bumper back that these little clips go in. Alright, so now I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough of the bumper, show you some close-up shots, just in case if you guys were looking for anything specific or wondering how something mounted. So this bumper is actually a 2-piece design. This bottom piece right here is actually the crash bar and connects to the frame. And the plastic piece right here is its own separate piece and bolts into the crash bar. So how it bolts in there is through a series of bolts. We got 3 in the middle right here. And also we have some right here as well. There is another one behind here. And as you can see here, this is actually the bumper bar bracket right here. So basically, this is just its own little individual bracket that goes right to the crash bar. And that is the bolts that we disconnected. So you notice we don't have any threads on there. And then we can go ahead and look at the fog light assembly. How this is in here is just a total of 3 different bolts, and then we have our little adjustment right here that allows for it to be put up or down. The fog light itself is held in by these 2 different studs, so it's on a swivel. And then this little plastic piece right here that's sticking out, that's where we pulled out our little plastic push clip. Alright, so let's go ahead and look over here closely, and we can see that we have 2 different plastic pieces on our bumper. This internal piece right here is actually the bumper filler. It's pretty weak overall and can break easily. And then on the outside of that, we actually have our bumper cover. Then in the middle, we just have the structural reinforcement bracket. It's held on by couple of different bolts right there, and then this big plastic piece right here that kind of has like a little mesh to it. That's where a lot of people put LED bars, but basically it's just held in here by these little clips. You can see all around it's just held in by clips, so it's not held in by bolts or anything like that. Also, we got these little bars right here. These are just for reinforcing the bumper. We got one over here, and then of course one on the other side. And then we got a large one that goes across here as well, that goes all the way from this side to this side. If you look right down in here, we got some holes, and that is where our D-ring brackets go. So yeah, that is just a really quick tour of the bumper and the different parts that it's made out of. Just wanted to get some close-ups if you guys were wondering. Now that we got the bumper completely off, I thought I'd share a few quick tips on how to put it back on if you need to do so. So one little problem that I had was getting these little threaded clips to stay on the bumper. Basically, these clips were very loose, and if you shook the bumper at all, they would fall off, and that's kind of a problem because you need to go ahead and put these clips back on before you actually stick the whole bumper back onto the truck. To fix this, all you gotta do is grab a pair of vice grips and clamp down on them, and then they should hold just fine. Now when you go to line up the front bumper, you have to make sure that little tab that is on the bumper is in the inner part of the wheel well liner and not the outer part. If you don't get that right, that little tab is going to stick out and then you won't be able to put back in your little plastic push clip. Here's what it'll look like when done properly, and as you can see there, I already got my plastic push clip in. Just pay attention to both sides and then you should be good. After you got that in, the bumper is still going to have some wiggle room and is probably not going to be lined up perfectly. So a trick that I use to line it up is to grab 2 of your 18mm bolts, you know, those bolts from the D-ring brackets, and try to get those bolts to line up first just by hand tightening them in there. Just do 1 per side. You don't actually need to use the D-ring bracket, just the 18mm bolt itself. It's also much safer to do it this way because when you're under the truck putting on those bumper bracket bolts, the 18mm bolts will be holding the bumper in place, and that way it can't fall on you. Since I have a grill guard, putting on the D-ring and D-ring brackets is going to be one of the last things I do, besides the skid plate, because I have to go ahead and put on my grill first, and then once I'm doing that, I might as well put on the push clips and reconnect the fog lights. And then from there, pretty self-explanatory, just go ahead and reassemble everything else. And that's everything. Overall, I hope you guys found this video useful. It did go a little bit longer than I would have liked, but I kind of wanted to make an all-encompassing video about the H3 bumper and talk about a few different things as long as I had the bumper off. Also, I do want to try to get more consistent with uploading videos. I think it's been like 3 months or something since I uploaded the headlight video. Sorry about that. Next video that I do want to do is the how to install 4-inch fog lights on your Hummer H3 using the Lays Designs bracket adapter kit that allows you to run 4-inch universal fog lights. I did mention that in the headlight video. As of now, I got most of it shot. I still need to do some editing and get some additional footage, but hopefully that video will be coming soon. So anyway, I will see you guys later.